What's happening, everybody? Welcome back. This is Forgo, and today we're going to do a little gameplay with the Maker because I saw some comments where people didn't think he was very good, didn't think he was really worth building. And, I do beg to differ, right? I do have a difference of opinion when it comes to this because I think the Maker is actually a really good character. Yeah, he is an expensive native tier 2, that is for sure. There are cheaper characters that you can absolutely build that would be better, like Shang-Chi, right? But Shang-Chi is kind of one of those exceptions when it comes to the combat class that's just over the top, right? He's just over the top. I mean, obviously, he should be one of your first combats that you should build. He's stronger than any native tier 2 combat character in the game, unless you start talking ABX, right? Or Captain America, right? But Maker is very, very strong. He really is a good character. A lot of people already have him at tier 3. They've already built this guy up because at one point, he was an ABX meta. He was very, very strong. Even though he's not now, he's still a really great character. And it was pretty funny, whenever we got this uniform, a lot of us were very dissatisfied with this. We were very unhappy because it just wasn't strong enough. And then they gave him a little bit of buffs, they reworked him a little bit, and then he ended up becoming quite the monster. I mean, he's a very, very strong character. And you guys can see my stats are pretty much maxed out. My dodge is a little bit low at 68%. My critical rate is a little bit low at 71%. So they're not completely maxed, but close enough. Something that does suck about this uniform, though, is the fact that he does lose his leadership tag because he ends up becoming a villain. That is a bummer. It really sucks that he can't take advantage of White Box, because if he could, he'd be so much better. Honestly, he'd be so much better. But I do have a really good build on my Maker. I mean, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Odin's Blessings, and then his physical attack gurus are sitting at Mythic. So I got a pretty good build on this guy. But I mean, he really does have quite the ease of play. Now, with a proc, you can play with him with a proc, but with a rage, you can actually use your tier 3 much more often because you can run through your skills a lot easier, right? Without worrying to have to set up your proc. That's something that's nice about a rage, but with a CTP of energy, right? Or with a mighty, with a beatdown prog, you're going to do better because you're actually going to have more chain hit damage. I opt to use this guy with a rage because I get really, really annoyed a lot of times when I'm playing with them because the procs get off quite bad. But he still could play well with a proc if you really want him to. And that's something to keep in mind when you watch this. I'm going to be using a rage. I'm not going to have that extra chain hit damage, right? And that makes a big difference. I have 19% pierce on my account, but I mean, he's really easy to play him. He's got the 3rd skill with a 35% increase of all attack. He's got the 4th skill with a 40% increase of all attack, which is just massive. And the 4th skill, you do have to let it play a little bit. You got to delay it before you cancel it. That way you get all the residual damage from that thing. And then the 5th skill, he does have the immunity, right? And this is an iframe. And then, of course, you got the ignore target dodge rate for 40% for 8 seconds. And you can pretty much keep this up pretty much all the time. And this is pretty sweet, especially against Null, right? It means you don't have to use as many ignore dodge strikers. You can just use damage to supervillain strikers. And that really does help us damage. And then he's got the decreased basic damage received by 30%, making it pretty tanky. He's got the leadership tag, the increase 65%. And then, this here, the heal that he has is just so sweet. The decreased damage received and the heal just makes him a really tanky character. Honestly, he's not that difficult to keep alive at all. And then he has the fully awakened power of Angry Hawk set. He's got the CTP of Rage. Something to keep in mind is, whenever he got this uniform, they took away his invincibility. I do wish they would have kept it. I mean, because he does get thrown back sometimes against Null, but it doesn't happen too often because at least this tier 3 does have invincibility. You don't have to worry about getting knocked back whenever you hit the tier 3. And then, of course, the stats are going to be maxed out because he does get the extra critical damage also. And then his uniform is at Mythic. And the uniform does offer an increased basic attack by 35%. And for a character like this, that is pretty awesome. Now, he's not the greatest against Mephisto. He does all right. He's not bad. Right, it's not bad, but the thing is, like, at least on my account, I'm all the way up at 19, and I can use males. But the thing is, because it's only males, we can only use one support and Taskmaster. And honestly, my Maker with my account and the way he's built, he just can't do it. Right, he comes within about 10 to 15 bars of clearing Mephisto at stage 19 with one support, which is pretty good. But he just doesn't quite get it done. And then before here, he does have some problems because, it's a superhero, so he's not applicable. And then, of course, here, he can do stage 9 easily. No problem. It's not really even worth showing. But against Null, even at stage 19, because we can use humans, and again, kind of the same problem that we had with Mephisto, our supports are like aliens, right? Or mutants like Mystique, Valkyrie, or it's like Wade that only applies to heroes, and since Maker's a villain, so his tag kind of hurts him a little bit because he is a villain, right? That's kind of the thing about the character. But he can absolutely do stage 19, no problem. And honestly, with one support, just using his leadership, that's a pretty tall order. It's honestly very, very good for him to be able to do this, and he can do it with relative ease. We're just going to use a couple ignore dodge strikers because he does get the 40% ignore dodge from his fifth skill, and then we just have some damage to supervillain strikers. So I'm going to go ahead and bring up a run for you guys that I already did earlier, so you can see how well he performed with the current build that he has. And, Maker's pretty strong. I mean, honestly, I forget how strong he is sometimes. But I did, say that, this is, a worth buying uniform because it does make him pretty damn strong. It really does. Is it over the top? Is it meta top clearing? No. But is it a good uniform? Yeah. Is it a useful uniform? Yeah. I mean, people that have this uniform and they have Maker leveled up and they do have a tier 3, and I know it's an expensive investment, but if you have him leveled up, even if you don't have Pierce on your account, he's going to get your clears for you. He will. He's strong, man. He's got a lot of damn power. I'm telling you. A lot of times I like to hit my fifth skill so I get that extra 40% ignore dodge before I do the tier 3. And this is something that's nice about using a rage for this character, is that I don't, you can run through your rotations, run through your skills a lot faster, and always be able to hit your tier 3 a little bit more often. And his tier 3 is his bread and butter. This is really where he does extreme damage. I mean, in 1 minute, we got down to the 38th bar, which is pretty good. That is a very respectful, especially with one support. Not bad, right? I'm not trying to tote him up and say he's God tier, but he is a good character. This is a good uniform. And the fact that he can actually do this with one support is a testament to his power. He's one of those characters that I think a lot of players would be pretty happy with, unless they're trying to compare him to someone like, Cole Obsidian or someone like Shang-Chi, right? If you're going to compare him to those kinds of characters, well, he's not going to be near as good, right? Those characters are they're over-the-top combat characters, right? But he is better than your average combat character for sure, and definitely a whole lot stronger than your average combat character. This guy is a lot stronger than Wolverine, even though Wolverine does better in ABX, which is just wacky that that's happening. But yeah, this guy will slaughter Wolverine and World Boss Legend content. They'll slaughter him. It's not even a fight. It's not even a comparison. And you can play pretty reckless with Mr. Fantastic because of his decreased damage received, because of the fact that he has his heals in this uniform. I mean, the uniform really did make him a whole lot better just all around. It addressed a lot of the issues that he had previously, right? Previously, he didn't have a heal. His survivability wasn't as good. He only had a decreased damage received against physical damage. Now it's against all damage. He's just so much better, not to mention all the increased attack, right? And plus, he doesn't have the damage accumulation based on damage you take on the third skill. So he's just a lot easier to play in that respect because he's got all the extra attack buffs. Right? He's pretty much a smash, and go kind of character instead of trying to take that damage whenever you're doing that third skill. It just makes him a lot easier to play and more convenient to play, right? And if I would have had a CTP of energy, I would have done today's video with a CTP of energy. Unfortunately, all I have was rages, so I just decided, just to use a rage on the character. But he can get interrupted when he does his fourth skill against Null right there. You saw that. But look at him. I mean, he's doing fine. And his tier 3 does have ignore iframe. That is something to keep in mind. So if you enter his tier 3 and they're doing an iframe, he can still do damage to them. He's not going to miss, which is something that's pretty damn nice about Mr. Fantastic, or the Maker. I always want to say Fantastic. Same character, right? But, technically he is the Maker in this uniform, right? This is the evil version of the guy. Here we go. Not bad. I mean, even his fifth skill does pretty damn good damage with the residual damage from the fourth skill. And then, of course, all the attack buffs. His movement speed is okay. It could be a little bit better, in all honesty. That is a bit of a critique I do have about the uniform, is that his movement speed is a little bit slow. And I do wish you could cancel the fourth skill immediately. But you got to delay it a little bit. You got to let him land to where he brings up his little head bangs and starts shooting his little beams or whatever. But I don't want to use my tier 3 because I'm going to use it at the beginning of the fight. Now, here's something that's pretty cool and really shows how tanky he really is. We have a little bit over 50% HP. We're just going to go ahead and pour it to it and try to use our tier 3, right? We're taking damage right now, but we're able to hang in there, let that tier 3 play out, do a lot of damage to Null while he's doing a lot of damage to us. And we could survive it, right? We could absolutely take that damage, survive it from Null. And that just shows how tanky Mr. Fantastic is, right? That's something that's really nice about the character. If you don't have the tier 3 available, then you're not going to get the clear, you're not going to be able to do all that damage during when Null does that attack because it's just going to knock you back. You're not going to have your super armor. But guys, I mean, you know, he had 19 seconds to spare. One support was able to get the clear against stage 19 Null. I mean, yeah, there's a CTP of Insight on Taskmaster, but still, that's a pretty good clear, honestly. Stage 19 with one support is pretty good. Is it over the top? Is it OP? No. But I still think that this uniform, especially if you already have them at tier 3, is worth purchasing on Black Friday, right? Because you're going to get it way cheaper, right? To me, it's absolutely worth it on Black Friday. I mean, but if you have Mr. Fantastic at tier 2 and you don't have him at tier 3, then I probably wouldn't buy it. Only if you're going to be using him in World Boss Legend content do I actually think it's worth it. If he's already at tier 3 and you just want to make him the best that you can make him. So let me know how y'all feeling about the Maker getting it done against stage 19 Null. And I do stream on Twitch at 9 p.m. GMT+7 time. The link is in the description below. And I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. Y'all take care and have a good one. See ya.